Wrong one.
Right.
Oh my God,
what a great show.
Great show.
Okay, well, that was a good show, guys. I'll talk to you later. I hope everybody enjoyed it.
Thanks for having us on, man. All right, we'll see you next week, brother.
And August, thank you for sharing those really personal details about yourself. That was brave of you.
That's right. That's right. Hey, we want to say it's you know, I don't even know what to say. It's been so frustrating just to get on. So.
We're just happy to be here at this point.
Right, we're just happy to be here. It's season 3 of Hunters Hangout, episode 6, and we got a bunch of great guests, and we've had so much technical difficulties today. That's why we're starting late. So if anybody, I mean, Brad posted, but if anybody wants to go see it on YouTube, you have to go to Brad Goodspeed's channel, and it's going to be over there. And then that's about. It's been messed up. That's all.
If you normally get to the show from the link that we post on Facebook or on Twitter, that link will take you right there. But yeah, it's not on Diablo's channel for now. We're gonna try and get it up there at a later date. But
yeah, I think Brad did this on purpose. He busted the internet just so he could get it on his page. He's looking for more subs.
That's right. All right. Well, we got some prizes and everything to give away, and we're just gonna let J-Wall get it started. So we're gonna hand it over to him and get the party rolling.
All righty.
If we can. I mean, it's been so messed up.
Yeah, we're all kind of discombobulated right now. We've been stressed out over this and didn't have our normal hour ahead of time to just kind of hang out and relax. So. It may take us a little while to get into the groove of things, but we do have some prizes tonight. So we thank our vendors immensely for their help and support. But we've got,
guys, I don't know if we're actually online. If I look
it says live.
It says live.
It says live up here, but I don't know if that's what people are seeing on.
Oh no.
Yeah, I kept hitting refresh and I wasn't seeing anything. So.
Not seeing anything there, eh? Okay.
What are they saying on Facebook?
They're still saying still waiting, so hold on here.
Oh, no, it is.
Oh, no.
You posted the wrong link, I guess.
Well,
no.
It's not working. Let me just
It's all right. We can throw that back in and start over.
Okay.
Hey, guys, though, keep in mind, this little segment... This little segment will post.
It's not as easy as you think, is it?
Okay, so this is the deal, guys. This is the deal, everyone. No one's watching this yet, but this is still all being recorded, right?
Yes.
So I'm gonna change the link. It's just going to be a moment, so talk amongst yourselves for the people who are watching this later.
Hey, everybody, cheers!
And take 3.
Cheers, everybody!
It's the special behind-the-scenes episode.
I think something messed up.
Oh, goodness.
This is what we always wanted to do. We always wanted to go live the hour before we went live because that was always the most fun, so this is our opportunity. Except for this hasn't been quite as fun. This has
so what's everyone drinking?
I've got. Oh, you're not. I don't even want to say what I'm drinking.
Why, Jim? Come on now. What do you got?
I'm drinking Leinenkugels.
Ooh.
What is that?
Leinenkugels, but this is it's the Bavarian style beer for spring, and it's called Big Butt.
Sounds delicious.
So that's a mouthful. If I can get it. Just so you know I'm not messing with you.
Big butt duper.
Okay, so you're standing in the aisle, look at all of the choices, and this one just called your name?
Oh, I saw Big Butt, and I was all up in that. I needed myself some Bavarian Big Butt.
Nice.
We should be getting people tuning. I put up the link, so we should be getting people tuning in any second now. So
yeah, we're live now.
We're live.
We're live now.
Next couple of minutes, we can.
Let's start that again, then, Jose.
I'm all confused.
All right, time to. It's a quick reverse.
The show tonight. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, it must be August, man.
My fault, baby. I'll take the blame.
And he came in there like broke the Google Plus.
That's right.
So just to
I
make
broke
it
the
clear,
Google.
Brad, we are officially on now.
Yeah, we've been on the whole time, just no one was watching.
I know, but the correct posted the correct link, and so that everybody understands, because we were already earlier blaming Brad for all of this, and
Oh, really?
who was it that posted the wrong link again?
Who is it that got the damn thing up on air?
All right, okay. Well, so we're gonna try this again, and we're reverse and say this is a. Oh my God, I forgot what I was gonna say again.
It's Groundhog Day. Buddy.
We got any prizes?
Yeah, we got
Yes.
prizes. Okay, well, we're gonna start off Hunters Hangout, Season 3, Episode 6. We got a lot of great guests tonight, and we got some prizes that I don't know what they are. Jim knows what they are because I'm just. It's been just a crazy night, total confusion, and if you go back and watch the beginning, you'll understand why. So.
Yes, that's exactly right. Oh, this has been a total mess. So welcome to our Deja Vu episode. We brought everybody together for our Deja Vu episode because everybody is doing a new theme this year, and everybody's going to be doing, Bayou, Swamp, Voodoo, all that good stuff. Isn't that right, everybody? Paul and Greg, and that's the whole reason we brought you here. It's the Deja Vu episode. But anyway, all kidding aside, we're a little stressed out right now. But anyway, we've got some great prizes to give away tonight. We do want to thank our vendors for their support and are able to bring this to everybody each week. Tonight's prizes, yeah, absolutely.
Here.
Tonight's prizes, we've got 1 gallon of fog juice from Froggy's Fog. We've got a 1-year subscription to Hauntopolis magazine.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Yep, Greg's reading it as we speak. He's checking out the centerfold.
Nice centerfold, too.
Yeah, it's a great magazine, too. But
It is.
and then also tonight, we've got a new giveaway. We are giving away one download from Gore Galore's Halloween Music Galore, and that is also the webpage. A lot of people may not
say that.
Yeah, no, a lot of people may not be too familiar with them yet. As far as everybody's probably familiar with Gore Galore, but maybe not so much the music side of things. They've got some great atmospheric music that they've got, but we're giving away one of those downloads tonight. I do want to go ahead and say to keep your eyes open because we've got a special Hunters Hangout exclusive discount, and that will be posted on Monday. And kind of as a little extra treat for everybody, but especially people that aren't going to be going to Trans World, and give them an opportunity to participate in the show special would be. So,
And they got some samples too on their website. They got some samples. The music's really good.
Yeah, so that rounds out our 3 prizes. I'm going to go ahead and swing over to Brad so he can explain how you can win those prizes.
And
Right.
what the hell's going on?
Yeah, so apologize to everyone for the confusion of tonight. I'm right now trying to catch up everyone on social media because some people are watching the wrong link. We had to do a bunch of emergency measures to get this thing on the air. So there will be a tweet there's a tweet up on Twitter right now. I'll link to that even on Facebook so you can get to it. Retweet that, and you qualify to win the prize. I'll be posting links to it throughout the night. All you got to do is retweet that, and you qualify to win the prize. And I'm trying to contact people who are currently watching the other video and commenting there to let them know to tune over here. So if I don't get to your question in the first 10 minutes of the show or so, it's because I'm distracted with that. So my apologies.
Yeah, tonight it's been a battle tonight. We've spent the last a little over an hour trying to get this thing up and running. So we got to thank Google Hangout for making last-minute changes on everybody.
Hey, you know what? Thank God that we'll be at Trans World next week, and it will all be the ladies' night.
Oh,
That's right.
Let them do other updates, so we ain't got to worry about it. Woo-hoo.
Well, you know what? We're gonna make this look good and easy, just so you know.
Okay.
And they, you know what? And they'll probably start at 8:58 instead of 9:10, 9:07, and try to make us really
They'll
look
try to
bad.
be
I'm
on
just
time.
saying.
But as Jose said, we've got some great guests. Just to introduce myself, and that's one of the things too, and we always forget this. I've been seeing, especially lately, a lot of comments and posts talking about the fact that, oh my gosh, I didn't know there was more to it than just a Facebook page. So if there are some new viewers, we can't apologize enough for the first 10 minutes, but hey, what the hell? That's what it, as August put earlier, that's haunting for you. Nothing's going to go quite that easy.
August is the one that broke the shit. This is presents up in here. It's like,
but for everybody new that's watching, and of course everybody that returns weekly after week, and I don't know why they do, but we can't thank them enough. So to introduce myself, I'm Jim, aka J Wall. I'm one of your hosts. We've also got Jose, or known as Diablo.
When I ain't drinking.
Yeah.
I'm a host when I ain't drinking.
And we've also helping us out, of course, every week. We've got Brad Goodspeed in the house.
Be good.
Be good. As Brad mentioned earlier, he keeps tabs on everything going on social media. So obviously there's a big chat that goes on amongst Facebook and YouTube with everybody that's watching. In that chat also, feel free to ask questions of any of the guests. Just when you start out the post.
I'm not trying to rush you. We're like a half hour behind.
That's okay.
I'm just throwing that out there.
There's something very important though we got to get to though, is that I want everyone to understand is that while I am an enormously fat man, the camera is stretching my image out tonight. I'm not as fat as I appear at the moment. I just want to make sure that's clarified. I don't care about the rest of the show.
Yeah, me too.
Wow. But,
I didn't
Brad
expect that.
Yeah, I know. Brad is monitoring the chat and the feeds. So if you do have questions of any of the guests, please feel free to ask those questions in the chat. I would just suggest that you start with the word question. It makes it much easier to distinguish the questions from just the chat amongst everybody. But the whole reason we're here is our guest, and I'm happy to introduce a couple new faces, and of course reintroduce a few others that we've had on prior. Joining us tonight, and happy to bring him to the forefront. We've got Greg Wallace. What's up, Greg?
Hello. How you doing?
Also joining us tonight, we've got Paul from Mad City Haunt.
Hey, good to be here, guys. Thanks for having me on.
And no, Jamie, I'm not going to wait for last for you.
I'm the old one.
We've got Jamie from Mill Pond Fright Night.
Hi.
And you know what? I do want to say that on previous episodes we've given some special thanks out to a couple special ladies that help us out a lot. That would be Jamie and Julie, and this is the Jamie that we keep referring to. So we thank her very much. And she's probably the reason we've had all these technical difficulties, because she's on the show instead of behind the show.
I do the best I can.
And also joining us tonight, and we are happy to bring them back as guests, we have Pandora and August Rose from Dark Rose Manor. What's up, guys?
And she's one of our fabulous hosts as well.
Yes.
You already know that.
Yep, so we get to, and so tonight we get the pleasure of having August on as well. He's usually standing behind watching Pandora do her thing, so we're glad to have him on tonight. So this will be fun.
Thank you.
Well, plus we get a chance to talk about their haunt instead of them having to talk about everybody else's for once. So
I don't know what I'm going to do with myself, buddy.
We're just gonna hang out and wait for questions.
Yeah, feel free to ask yourself
she's gonna start asking questions. You know why everybody's going through.
Melissa, where are you? Melissa.
And also tonight we're happy to bring on another new face and guest and get everybody introduced. We have Rodney from Playground of the Dead. What's up, Rodney?
Hi guys, how's it going?
Not bad. We're doing much better now. Thank you.
Yeah.
Now that we're back up. Well, again, the whole reason we're here is to talk about the guest and their haunt and their experience and some of the props that they've built. I would like to go ahead and start with Greg. He's made some pretty awesome props. He's got a YouTube channel. Give us a little bit of background on what he has done throughout the years with his videos. Does take us along the ride for some of his builds, so we do appreciate that. Greg, if you could just talk about some of the items that you've built, maybe some of your favorite ones or some of them that you've hated and ready to throw away.
Well, I haven't thrown any away.
Good boy.
Some of my favorite things, I really like my tombstone, my Celtic cross back here, over here. I like that one a lot. I got that one. You had Hector Turner on here a couple weeks ago, so that's where I got the pattern for that one.
Oh, yeah, he's a really good stone maker.
Oh yeah,
very, very much so. This one on the other side over here, everything's backwards.
See, we forgot to tell you I guess Jamie should have told you when you flipped it that everything was going to be backwards.
Yeah.
You keep calling my name. Stop throwing me under the freaking bus.
These are all the fun things that aren't discussed or aren't known out in the world. So this is kind of funny.
Yeah, on another side, I got a skeleton. That's my current project I'm working on. Paper mache, the limbs and the hands and everything are tree limbs and branches I cut off. Trying to go for like an organic kind of thing there.
Right, and is that Junior in the middle you got there?
Yeah, well that's Jr. That's his name. Yeah, Junior. Right, Jr. That is his name actually.
That's right. Man, I've been subscribed to you since 2012, man. I know.
I know. Yeah, and he's hinged at his waist, so he bends forward at the waist, and his arms come out, and he's like the one scare I got going on in my yard at the moment. So. Right.
I mean, I like the way that you put like the straps to make his arms come out. You know, use it with the wiper motor. That was really like I watched it like a couple of years, and I was like, how do you get the arms to flop out like that? You know what I'm saying? And you guys,
plastic plumber's tape.
Yeah, plumber's tape, and he just like got to move out. So I mean, that's pretty cool. So make sure you go check out his channel too. So that way you can see how he does it. It's pretty clever.
Yeah, that one's really slick. Yeah.
Thanks.
Well, and the other one that kind of stood out to me too is Cookie, because I think the rendition of that prop.
Yeah, he's probably my favorite. So I did him last. This is the one I did last year. He's probably my favorite right now.
Oh,
I was
the Civil War guy. The Civil War
that's
guy.
how he came out.
Oh my God, that's my favorite. That's my favorite too.
Yeah, that one is pretty killer. That's
because I love it's Cauldron Creep. It's Craig Schreiber's Cauldron Creep. So, but I just put a Civil War uniform on him and a little Confederate hat and a flag on the stick that he stirs. So yeah, he's I really like him.
Yeah, he's one of my favorites. I like how you changed it up and put the flag on there and it's really cool.
That was my wife's idea.
Yeah, you told me.
I know.
Hey, you told me I wasn't gonna bring it up. You know what I'm saying? Don't want to take away the glory.
She has her moments. That's what I said, right?
That's right.
Well, I'm glad that she had input, because the flag really kind of sets it off, especially with the Civil War character. We've seen so many different Cauldron Creeps come out, and there's been different variations, and that one was definitely a unique one. So
you got to try to add your own put your own little spin. You know what I mean, on stuff.
Yeah, well, that's.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Greg, maybe if you could tell everybody where you're from.
I'm in Cincinnati, Ohio. Actually, Loveland's about 20 miles east of Cincinnati, Ohio.
Okay. Yeah, right in the heart of Ohio. There you go. Especially you know, I would imagine being in Ohio with all of the haunts and everything, that kind of seems to be the mecca of haunts is in Ohio, in the surrounding areas. But
or freaking Texas, man, I hate all
well,
those people.
except for the fact that you can fit about 3 Ohios in Texas. So if you take and really do the calculations, they're definitely over the top when it comes to haunting. So
Right.
are you pretty well received in the community then?
Oh yeah, they love it. Yeah, the people when they come around, and I have people like I'm in a cul-de-sac, and just like this last year when I was putting stuff out, I noticed people like stopping in the cul-de-sac and getting out of their minivans with all their kids, just standing there on the sidewalk looking at the house and stuff like
Wait,
that.
nice.
So that's kind of cool. And I had
And
one.
how long have you been doing it?
I had one parent tell me that my house is legend in their house. So.
Oh, nice.
So that makes me feel good, you know.
That's one of the best compliments ever,
Yeah.
right there. Yeah.
And I got a little haunter. Maybe I'm starting over across the cul-de-sac. He started making his own tombstones and stuff after I did. So
here's another pic.
yeah, that's the I did the Alan Hops plastic corpse thing with that one. I used like the dry cleaning stuff bags that your clothes come back in the dry cleaner. I used that and wrapped it around it instead of like actually going out and buying something.
The true haunter way.
That's the way to do it.
That's right. Cheap and green.
Well,
here's a full shot.
Yeah, I like this.
Cool.
I love that picture.
And that's why he's legend right there. When they come by.
Those aren't my words; those are theirs.
Well, I'm saying it too. So there you go.
Yeah, we've been watching you for quite a while now, so this is kind of fun to see this stuff and get a chance to talk to you. That's for sure.
Yeah,
and I love that you take us along for the ride on a few things, so that's always fun.
Yeah. Show it all, warts and all, right?
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely.
Here's a Sam.
Here's what I did, but don't do that.
Don't do that.
Yeah, that's my Sam. His arm, the arm with the lollipop, actually goes up and down. It's got a deer motor in there.
Which is on your YouTube channel if anybody wants to know how to do it.
Yes, it is. As a runner-up on the Dead with Dave contest. I'm always a runner-up.
Always runner-up.
Well, I know we've got quite a few more pictures of yours, but we'll run down through some of the other guests and get to know them a little bit, and we'll come back to you, Greg, and we can go through some of those other pictures, and you can give us a little bit more background on your haunt and what you've been up to. Also talking about a few different unique things and different twists on prop making. We've got Paul from Mad City Haunt, and he knows a few things about contest as well, and certainly about to making some unique stuff and bringing some new ideas to the table. So we can't thank him enough for that, and I'm glad that you've been on board and have been able to share that. If you could just tell a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and maybe some of the things that you've been working on.
Yeah, so I am in Madison, Wisconsin, and that is part of why I chose the screen name Mad City. In the last year here, I've been doing a lot of the homemade props, but I've actually started moving into more of the kind of professional, like molded polyfoam props, expanding foam, things like that. So I've been experimenting with a lot of different stuff. I actually switched jobs in the last couple months. I was working at a computer place and started working for a Halloween company now. So sweet. I get to build props during the day. So that's kind of a lot of experimenting to find out, you know, what works best for that.
Okay, so that's two people I hate. You,
I know, that's exactly what I hate you.
You and text it.
We all get a discount when I went out.
And it's okay. It's okay if you want to plug who you're working for, if that's okay with them. I mean, you're leaving everybody in suspense. They're thinking, well, who the heck's he working for?
Well, do we have a
Oh,
sponsorship
yeah.
deal with them?
Yeah, wait a minute.
I know you shouldn't be promoting it.
I right now I'm working at Halloween Effects Props now, and they do custom props. They do resale props. Pretty much any type of stuff you need, whether it's prop building or fully built props, they've got it.
Congratulations, Paul.
Absolutely.
That's amazing.
Thank you. So, and I just needed a change of pace from the computer thing, and as you guys can see with the way things went with the show tonight, that kind of sums up working with computers.
Bringing us into your world.
Yeah, needed a change of scenery.
All right,
Yeah,
here's one of the props you did here.
You might have got to change the scenery, but the problem is that you just changed one huge problem for another one, because as we already stated, it's still Halloween and haunt.
Yeah. Well, that picture is actually Halloween Effects actually has a professional haunt that they run seasonally. So their haunt is open from like mid-September until November 1st. And they have a elevator in the haunt, and that panel was actually for the elevator. And all the lights on it would flash, and you had the red warning light at the bottom that would flash. And
all right, didn't they get? I thought they didn't. They got shut down for some difficulties or something like that they were complaining about. Someone else was complaining about. Did that actually go through, and they got to go through with it, or?
Yeah. So that's actually, it's an interesting story. They actually did get shut down temporarily. The community that they were in, it's more of a upscale kind of rural community, and they're really like, a lot of the people that live there didn't really like the idea of a haunt in their community. But at the end of the day, the council members made the right choices. They didn't discriminate against them, and they did get to open. They were just about 2 weeks behind schedule. So there was a lot of scrambling right before the haunt opened, because we had all thought it was going to be closed, and then we got the go-ahead, and we had about 2 to 3 weeks to get everything finished. So so they were open for most of October, and I think they had about 5,000 people go through, and everyone had a real great time, and like there were no problems or anything like that. So we were happy with how that went.
That's cool. That's great. All right, how about this pic?
Oh yeah, that's actually something that I had made for Pandora and August for their haunt, and I really appreciated the video that they had made when they received it. It was nice to see when they first got it.
First question I've got in from the audience. Melissa Broberg wants to know, how does Mad City like working in the Halloween business? Does it take away from haunting or add to it?
It's good. It's when you're doing it all day long. I think people are like worried that there might be a burnout factor, and there's not really a burnout factor, but you kind of get distracted. Like sometimes when I'm doing stuff at work and I come home and watch like good horror movies that I love, or just stuff that reminds me of Halloween, it makes me want to do kind of my own thing here, like that's more kind of home haunter focused. Whereas at work I might be doing like mechanical stuff, building max welding, building flame machines, which is real different than the type of stuff I do at home. So it's really just kind of your mind's jumping all over the place. When I'm at work, I'm in one frame of mind, and when I'm at home, I'm in another frame of mind. And
well, that's good too, because then that kind of helps break everything up. I mean, otherwise, if it was the same thing, it would get the monotony would pretty much kill you at that point, especially for your home.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
So,
the fact that it is different, you know, working at the hunt or working at work building props or doing it at home, it really keeps it fresh, so it's not too much of a good thing, because those good things are all a little bit different.
Oh, that's cool. What about this here? I love these guys. This guy.
Oh yeah, that was one that I built last year just for around St. Patrick's Day, which actually is coming up here. So yeah, that was just one that I had wanted to do something kind of like a gremlin or a demon, and I really like doing the paper mache stuff on my own time. A lot of the techniques I used in that were the things I learned from watching Scott Stoll's videos from Stolloween.
mm-hmm.
And I really like the work that he does. I think some of his props are incredible, and the stuff that he teaches people in his videos, I think, is extremely helpful. And you know, the paper mache thing is so easy that I just love doing it.
Yeah, you can see a lot of the influence in that one, especially on the structure of it, the base structure when they build up the eyes and the face. There's definitely a lot of influence there. And you know, the funny thing is, Jose jokingly said, "Oh, now good, this is a perfect segue because he brought up this picture." I was gonna say, you talk about hating somebody, going, "Oh, I hate you right now." If there's one thing that Paul does that always just gets me is that he'll go from one thing to the next. You know, one time he's building something pretty technical. We saw the elevator panel. Well, that elevator panel for a lot of people would just be something that would be fairly basic, and we would do this and that. And Paul takes it to a whole nother level on the detail and precision. And then he'll do that, and next thing you know, he's throwing up a paper mache prop. And then next thing you know, he's throwing up a sculpt, which we've got here, and you're like, oh, I think I'll try sculpting for the first time. and this is what you get for the first time. You're like, oh my lord, what is he doing? He's killing everybody. But well, yeah, that sculpt just turned out sick.
Oh, thanks. That was actually, it was for a contest on this forum called the RPF.
Is that how you do this contest? Is that how it happens? It's like everything you do is for the contest.
Well, so with their contest, they had you could win a $550 gift certificate for Immortal Masks. And so, of course, every time they had that contest, I was shooting for that. And that was the final sculpt I had submitted, and I actually missed the deadline because I looked at the wrong date, so I submitted a day late to that one.
Man, nice.
That stinks.
Did you end up molding it or anything after that? I don't know if I recall any work done afterwards.
That one I haven't. So I have two sculpts that I am going to mold this summer. I've actually been waiting for the weather to get a little nicer so I can do it in the garage.
Yeah. Now your other sculpt, if I recall, was kind of had a little bit more kind of like the samurai.
Yeah. Yep. And that was. Yep, that was for their the second contest they had, and the guy in that picture was for their third contest.
Did you make the deadline?
Not on the last one. On the second one, I did. I think the samurai guy came in like second place, but maybe in the down the road they'll have more Immortal Mask coupons going or gift cards.
Give you a little bit more give you a little bit more something to strive for then.
Well, those are.
Sorry, Paul. Go on.
Oh no, I was just saying, you know, I like the sculpting thing. I think for the props I'm doing now, it gives a lot of options for ways to do stuff, and I do have a couple things that I'm working on that should be available soon through Halloween Effects that are like sculpted and cast now.
And just
You know,
for the record, not only did Paul make that beautiful sculpture for us, but he also just recently sent us the mold for it as well. So amazing! You are an amazing artist and an amazing person, Paul. So thank you.
Thank you.
That is very cool.
Yeah, I cried. It was a complete surprise. I absolutely bawled my eyes out when I opened that box.
And it is very well protected, I promise you. We read the note first, and we've taken extreme caution. And like her Facebook said, there is a package that is eventually going to get to you. And
Cool. Hey, I appreciate it.
Hey,
I'm going the JWoww route. It's
send
taken
drugs
me a
through the
year to
mail,
send
guys.
anything out.
What was that, Brad?
I said you're not allowed to send drugs through the mail, just so you know.
Oh.
Oops.
This is a public show, live.
Hey, you know what though, Pandora and August, we could save you some postage, because if I recall, you are going to be at Transworld, and so is Paul.
Yes, but we're flying.
Oh, yeah, you are.
there is.
Still going to have to wait. Still going to have to wait.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Paul, I'm curious. You've done a great job on your videos and trying to explain a lot of the things and how you've come up with it in your builds and whatnot. But because you've had so many different styles and so many different things that you have worked on, as you know, whether it be sculpting or paper mache, you mentioned on the paper mache that Scott has been a huge influence. But what about some of the other items? Are there certain pages, people that you watch that may be of help for the rest of us as well?
Oh yeah. So I try and watch as many people's YouTube videos as possible. Pretty much anybody that has how-tos, I love watching their videos. Obviously Alan Hops has a ton of videos that are super helpful. I also watch a lot of videos that are kind of outside the Haunter YouTube. So if like people are looking to get into sculpting, I recommend stuff by Don Lanning is a pretty good sculptor. He's with Stan Winston. I'm kind of like hesitating now because I'm blanking on names since you asked me. And I'm sure they're all going to come to me in a second. But yeah, I watch a lot of the Stan Winston stuff. I believe one of the guys on YouTube, Stuart Bray, has a lot of good sculpting. Don Lanning with Stan Winston. I'm just totally blanking right now.
That's okay. Hey, you think about that. It'll probably come to you when you're not having to think about it or talk about it. And when we come back to you, if it comes to mind, feel free to throw it out. But I'll go ahead and jump over to Jamie because Jamie's always just so quiet and nervous about this. It always cracks me up. He's always hoping that she's going to be last and nobody talk to her. So at this point, I think everybody should talk to Jamie and get her.
Or you know what we could do, Jay? Well, the rest. How about we all just decide we won't talk for the next 5 minutes and Jamie can take it from here?
And just let Jamie. Yeah.
Wait, hold up. Now, Brad. Now, you just got through saying she was going to show us how the women are going to do it. So
I know.
we should just be quiet and see how she flows, man. Just so we know how it's going to go, next week.
And Jamie, one other request. We haven't had a lot of comments tonight, but we have had one that asked you to tilt your camera down so we can see more of your beautiful face. So.
Oh, Lord. There you go.
I'm not even kidding. That's down there.
She's trying to hide behind her little shirt. As Brad said earlier, the camera has abnormally widened his view. Unfortunately, Jamie's camera has shrunk in her
Shrunk
view.
my-
Nothing.
Well, that's not my fault. I'm only 3 feet tall. Don't hate the short people.
But Jamie, you've been busy. You had a different year this year, didn't you?
Oh,
or I
my
should
gosh.
say previous year. Yeah, why don't you tell us about that?
It was a crazy year. You know, up until this year, we had a haunt at our house, and we had a big party because we live out in the middle of nowhere, so we don't have trick-or-treaters. We don't have neighbors. So it's just been, you know, really, well, it's been a large haunt, but a small group of people, you know, just a handful of people that we invited that came out. But this year we decided to take it into town, and we partnered with the Boy Scouts, and we had it at the local Elks Lodge. So we went from our backyard to a big 2-acre haunt, and it was quite the learning curve, and completely different, you know, going with it public versus, you know, having it at our house. So it was exciting, but you know, I learned a lot the first year, a lot of things that I'll change for next year, but yeah.
So did you get the couch like that?
Actually, I did get the couch
like that.
Yeah, exactly.
No, the secret to this couch
I know how to make a couch look like that.
The secret to this couch is, first of all, it was already falling apart a little bit when we got it. Someone gave it to us for free. And then we just put it outside and let the dog sleep on it for a year, and then there you go.
Oh, Lord.
I would love to say I distressed that all by myself, but no.
That's real distressing.
Oh, this is a horrible picture. It was so
it's
dark.
from all that couch action. Couch is on the other side of the room there.
Right.
we use billboard tarps over our haunt as our roofing and down the side, and that stuff lets zero light in. So when you go into our haunt, the parts that are closed in, I mean, it is pitch black dark. I mean, like, you can't see your hand in front of your face, kind of dark. And even with the lights we put in there, trying to get a picture with a camera was just absolutely ridiculous. So that picture was just like the best we could find. Oh, and this is our drive-in here. And this was really, really a fun room. This was our first time actually doing a room of our haunt that was really, really huge. And you always think that it's so great to have people in this small area, you know, where they're you know, kind of afraid of everything. But this room turned out to be the most fun. And this picture was actually taken the next day, and you can see, like, there's huge cut in the screen. They kept having to make it bigger because the people, you're supposed to go through the screen into the rest of the haunt, and people wouldn't go, and they'd go into the middle of the cars, and then zombies would come out. We had about 34 actors total in the whole haunt. We had probably 10 of them in this room alone.
Oh,
and
nice.
The zombies would come out from all around and chase them towards the screen, and they were supposed to go in the screen, but it was like they would run everywhere but in the screen. And the zombies began having the job of just trying to corral the people to get them to go where they were supposed to go. But we learned that actually having this open air area actually turned out to be more scary for the people because they couldn't just crouch down and hide and just, you know, go. They had to actually look around and try to figure out where the exits were. And this actually turned out to be one of our best scares of the whole haunt, this one that was so wide open.
You know, I guess that probably plays with the psyche, because when they come in, they're expecting to be corralled and have a certain path, and probably when they come into this room, and it, like you said, it's so open and airy, it probably really freaks them out because it is just the opposite of what they're expecting.
Oh, it was fun, you know, and the people who, because in the first two rooms it is that you know, traditional closed-in area, and then they get into, you know, even this room here, you know, you pretty much know exactly where you're going, but in there, man, it was awesome. That was just so much fun.
I just love the fact that you've got the old cars and everything else. That was really cool.
We were really, really fortunate to have that opportunity. We had a gentleman that collects them, and he knew somebody that could bring them in, so it was really awesome.
So those were just borrowed then. He came and brought them and took them away as well.
Well, actually, I think they're still there.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
And they will be as long as you can help it, right?
And there was some question about where we're going to have our haunt this year. We knew we were going to move it into town, and we knew we were going to partner with the Boy Scouts. But we had a couple different venues we were going to before we finally, figured out we were going here. We had a lot of problems with the city and zoning and things. So we actually started building in September. We put this whole haunt together in less than 2 months. So it was really last minute.
Got a question from Al Driver. Jamie, how much time do you spend each week making these clowns look good, preparing for each show? The funny thing is, when I started reading his question, I didn't realize it was a stab at us. I thought he was talking about the clowns in the picture.
Yeah, I put the clowns on the clowns. We'll deal with you later. We'll deal with Al later.
So many hours.
Apparently, she went to sleep this week because of all the issues that we had. So, if she's going to get all the credit for making us look good, she's getting all the credit for making us look bad tonight.
Right.
She'll be our scapegoat.
So Kyle Albrecht wants to know, how much extra work and build was involved in the switch from home haunt to the Elk Lodge.
Actually, it was a little bit easier because at home it was just my husband and I, and then at the Elks Lodge we had help. So actually, it was easier to move it, and we also had way more actors. At home it was just myself, my husband, and maybe 1 or 2 friends depending on the year. Here, like I said, we had 34 different actors between the adults and the teens, the Boy Scouts, and we have a venturing crew now, which is co-ed, so that brought in a bunch of ladies to help. And so actually, that part was easier. What I didn't count on, this year I will not be acting. Last year I was acting, and this is why we have no really good pictures, because I said, well, we'll have a lull, and I'll get to, take pictures, and I'll walk around, and I'll do this and that. We opened at 7:30, and it was nonstop people from the moment we opened till the moment we closed. And we had this horrible thunderstorm, and these poor people were standing outside in the rain waiting to get in. I mean, it was awful. But there were no lulls. There was no breaks.
Chris Steffens wants to know, I love the Zombie Drive-In. Were those real cars that you used?
Yes, they were real cars. Well, once upon a time, they were real cars. They don't have any
So that's a good haunting tip. Just collect any cars that you have lying around.
You should have totally said those were paper mache.
You just said they were like blow up down.
I built those out of monster mud.
Yeah.
Jamie, there was, when you and Julie were doing your pre-chat with me, I had talked to you a little bit about some of the struggles between being a home hunter and being pro, and there was this amazing little business genius that you had in terms of inspection and safety and all that good stuff. Can you talk a little bit about that and how you got around some of the things that typical pro hunters would have to deal with because of your location, and how you geniusly came up with a workaround?
Well, yeah. So we had our haunt. I think I know what you're talking about. We had our haunt at the Elks Lodge, which is a private, organization. So we didn't have to worry about any of the, the red tape that you would have, going public and pro. So, whatever. But we wanted to open it up to the public, and so what we did is we printed out, I don't know how many, maybe 150, 200 invitations, and each invitation was good for 1 car to come in. And then we passed those out to all of the scouts, and they then passed them out to all of their friends and family and community and whatnot. So in the end, we had a private haunt, invitation only, just for friends and family, so to speak, but, in reality, we pretty much invited the whole city. So that got us out of a lot of the, the
private event open to the public. Brilliance.
Yeah. And we weren't open to the public. We were invitation only, but invitations went out everywhere, so.
Christine Steffens wants to know, Jamie, where did you get the billboard material for your haunt?
Well, I'm actually fortunate. My husband was in the billboard industry for the majority of his career, so we have a lot of connections here. But a lot of times people don't realize when they take the billboards, the vinyls off the billboards, they just throw them away. And so if you call your local, billboard companies, sometimes you can get someone that'll let you just go in and collect them. You just have to ask.
Now, regarding the Scouts, a couple of questions. Robert Gaskell wants to know, being paired with the Scouts, did it help bring community support to the haunt? And Melissa Broberg wants to know, are you still working with the Scouts again this year?
We are working with the Scouts again this year. I guess it was so quick. We really, like I said, we threw this together in September, October. We really didn't get the word out as much this year as last year as we did this year. And this year, we're getting a lot of people saying that they didn't hear about it till last minute, and they're really excited. So yeah, we have a huge support going in this year.
With you doing the Scouts, it just all the thing it reminded me of when you talked about this and doing the move and attaching yourself with the Scouts. It was like a throwback to all the haunts when everything was JC's and that's what it was always about way back when, before the industry got to be huge. So it's kind of nice to see. I'm glad that really worked out for you guys in the community. So I hope that continues.
And I think it helps the Scouts out too, because people don't necessarily always think that scouting is cool and whatever, and this kind of gets people that might not have normally thought about scouting, and they come into the haunt and they're like, oh wow, this is something fun that I would like to do, and so it helps recruit for them as well.
No, that's nice. That works out really well. It's kind of a win-win for everybody at that point.
Yeah.
Well, talking about a win-win, we've got Pandora in August, and as much as we hate Paul, there's one thing that we hate even more, and that's haunt couples, because it's like the true envy of the haunt industry is when you have a couple that haunts together.
So we got Paul, Texas, and Dark Man. Freaking hate.
Can you tell we're so aggravated from the start of this show that the aggravation just came right on through to our guests.
Yeah. Bring it on. You can feel the negativity.
Bring it on.
No. All joking aside, I mean, like I said, that is if there's anything, it's like that is the true envy of all haunters. I think is when you do have a true couple that haunts together. Yeah. So it's pretty awesome, and you guys, I mean, you've been doing it for a while now, and we've been watching you guys, and it's just been fantastic. So for a lot of people that may not know, Pandora is, she's been a guest host on here a few times, and a lot of people may not know the background of Pandora, and especially since Pandora's also got her wing person, August, and he's got his wing person. So if you
he's like wing person, I'm in charge.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to be politically correct. I'm like, I don't want to say it. But if you could tell everybody where you're from and give us a little bit about what you put together this year, which was fantastic. I keep saying this year, it was really last year, but I guess since this year hasn't happened yet, that's still appropriate.
It feels that way. It does.
Yeah.
We're in Colorado. We started in Denver. Our first 2 years, including Cheese Year, and then the first real haunt that we did was in Denver, and we then moved to Southeast Aurora, and that's where we're at now. So Aurora, Colorado, and. See, I do better as a guest host. Take it away, darling.
Well, Pandora,
I was so like, how's it gonna feel on the other side of the fence, dude?
And Pandora, just ask yourself some questions.
Yeah, Pandora, do you have any questions for yourself?
Real easy. We'll answer any question you got, but those of you who have been following along with us, we started in Denver. We've been in this house since 2009. We've made some mistakes along the way. We've learned a lot along the way. we started vlogging pretty much because of all of you. We were
Thank
like,
you.
wow, you know, it's like, hey, let's do some vlogs. But if you watch our vlogs, if you watch our haunt, you know, we do pretty much everything a little differently because, I don't know, it's just the DRM way. We just kind of fly off on our own, do our own thing. And
Jim, you had
that's
actually.
what we do.
Yeah,
so
you had
there
actually
it is.
said something. We were in an after chat.
That got her talking.
Yeah, it did.
Thank you, August.
There you go.
I'm worried now. What in the world did I say? There's no telling.
Okay, see, I'm putting up some pictures. Should I do that?
It was after Jen and Timmer and Rich were all on, and we were talking about going into pro haunts. And August and I have never ever been through a pro haunt ever. So going to Transworld will be our first time. And you had said something to us.
Not together.
Well,
I've been through pro haunts,
okay.
but they always suck.
Semantics.
Together, no. We've never had a vacation together. We've never had a honeymoon. We've never gone to a pro haunt together. Nothing.
Well, I have personally never been through a pro haunt ever. And so you had said something to us about how maybe that's why we kind of fly off on, you know, weird, strange ends of things, just because we haven't been really exposed to what's typical. Either that or we're just freaks, which I'm okay with too.
No, I think you guys got your own thing. You guys got your own thing, and I say stick with it.
Thank you.
I don't know what that was. That
was the aliens coming down.
The aliens.
I don't know if you guys are freaks. I mean, we haven't seen your worn-out couch yet, but we do have some questions for Sandra Huard.
Blankets covering it.
Sandra Huard wants to know, I work with my husband on our haunt. How do you come to a final decision when you and your partner have different opinions on how something should be done?
I win.
Yeah, I thought that was going to be the answer.
You know what the answer usually comes down to? It's two things: time and money.
Yeah, usually. Yeah. We figure out the best way to hack it together as cheaply as possible, but still have it fit what the original plan and idea was, as close to that original idea as possible.
And when you run out of time, too, you're like, well, you know what? That sounds great, and I agree with you, but reality dictates that the only way to build this fantasy is by going with Plan B.
Yeah.
So you have to be open to Plan B. Sometimes you have to be open to Plan M. You really do.
Question from Chris Ainsworth for you guys. Where do you get your inspiration? Who inspires you?
Chris. We love you, Chris.
I do.
You inspire yourself? Nice.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, no, man, you know, every time people ask us about our inspirations, we always say, we said this in the interview with Damian Michael as well, it's hard because we could list 1,000 things from 1,000 genres, 1,000 relationships, and somebody's going to get left out. But it's the people we meet, it's their art, it's their stories, it's their videos, it's the movies we watch, the music we listen to, and it's just something that I think we both grew up with individually, and when we brought that together, it was like, I want a piece of this, and a piece of this, and a piece of this, and the artists within us say, can we make a whole out of all of these different things? Can we make a universe? Because you don't want the mishmash, but you do want a cohesive universe where all of these things can like just harmoniously exist. And that's, I think, one of the things that DRM really tries to bring to it is a harmony to things that don't seem like they have any at all.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of specific inspirations, he's right. It is absolutely the community as a whole, whether it was the forums where we started or the YouTube universe. I mean, everyone has had a part in those inspirations for sure. And of course, there's fairy tales that inspire. There's filmmakers that inspire. It comes from everywhere. It really does.
Yeah, and speaking of Brad Goodspeed and Chris Ainsworth, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you guys inspired me to the Diablo level of hate. There's Brad again. Yep, there's Brad again. I'm like, damn it.
That's the theme of tonight, is that haunting is driven by hate. Got a question. I got a
Brings out the
question.
best in us. That's all you can ask for, right? Because that's what we all do, is we just bring it out.
We're so excited to meet all of you at Transworld this year. We're really jazzed about
Oh, it's gonna be so
absolutely.
Week away.
I got a
Week away
question
from
here
big
from
hugs and handshakes.
it. What?
got a
Sorry,
question here
Brad,
from Robert Gaskell that I would really like to know the answer to, because I was watching your progress throughout the year with your numerous dead animals in your backyard. Robert Gaskell wants to know if there was one or more things the DRM would do different when dealing with animal carcasses. What would it be?
That's awesome. Great question.
It's like, how much did they pay the neighbors?
The number one answer to dealing with dead animals: you have to let the bugs finish their job before you move on to step 2.
Yes.
The bugs are there for a reason, and had we just let the bugs do their work. That's why they're there. They will do the job. Don't move to bleach. Don't move to paint. Don't move to peroxide. Don't move to anything. Let the beetles do their thing.
And what's
That's what we would have done differently had we known more.
definitely.
in time.
I
By
jumped
the
the gun.
flesh-eating, when you say the bugs, are you talking about just the natural progression of things with the
Yes.
maggots and whatnot? So you didn't
When
buy
we
the
orig-
beetles
yeah.
then?
Yeah, when we didn't buy the beetles. The beetles
Okay.
already existed.
They were there.
Well,
They were there.
Killed
there's-
them.
I killed them.
You killed them? Oh, you
Killed the bugs.
I killed them prematurely.
Hey, well, what about the neighbors, man, with all the stench? It had to stunk bad.
Yeah.
You know, we're fairly.
No, it wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad. Well, okay.
It wasn't that bad, really.
Okay, because I seen some cloth, I seen some mask over your face when you was like dealing with it. So I'm like,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, okay.
That was a cute visual effect. It didn't help the spit. It wasn't that bad.
To be real about that, I mean, I think he is nose blind, honestly, because that was one of the worst smells ever, ever.
I've worked with carcasses.
Ever.
That shit is awful. That's terrible.
And when you sit those bones in water for a week,
Yeah.
and then you go back to it and you dump that water.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as far as the neighbors are concerned, we're kind of lucky that on one side we have a neighbor that could care less about anything, and that's good. And then on the other side, we've got the neighbor that thinks we're Satanists.
Oh, well then.
hey,
Well,
So
that
you
confirms
toss
it.
in
I
the
bet you got some
smell.
green ass grass though, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay, for those of you playing along at home, Mr. Stinky Fox is still stinky, and he is still contained.
Yeah.
He is in his own private den, and will probably stay there for a very long time.
Without trying to drag this on too long, the gist of this is that after all of that work and well over 6 months of trying to properly macerate and cure most of these bones, we wound up using only about 25% of what we had because it had all been completed. We had binned it all up, but we left those bins sitting outside, and those bins weren't watertight. So we got these massive rainstorms before we were ready to do this and didn't notice that these bins had refilled with water.
Oh.
So what wound up happening is they started to re-break down and remacerate. So when I went to open the bins to put them out into the decor for the haunt, I knocked myself down.
Ooh.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Hey, well, look on the bright side. You didn't have to order any of
We have lots of bones.
Lots of bones.
We have
Yeah, you
lots
had
of
your own
bones.
scent going on.
A couple of questions for you guys from Highbury Cemetery on YouTube. Question for DRM: do either of you have an art background?
We both do, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's more of the fine artist. I am graphic and digital artist as well as a sculptor. But he's
I'm a traditional artist. I'm pen and ink, pencil, paints, chalks,
Conte.
words, and she's the techno artist. Although she does have some traditional skills as well, the charcoals and sculpting. But yeah, I've been drawing and writing since I was about, well, just big. I don't know how old, but I've been drawing and writing my whole life, and as far as I know, she's been performing and learning her whole life, and so yeah.
Michael Edwards wants to know, Pandora in August, how is the video you've been working on coming along, and can you talk about it a little?
I assume he's talking about the animation.
Short?
Yeah.
That came in
Probably.
I'm like, what happened? I was waiting.
Still working on it. It's a heck of a learning curve, and Brad and I have a no date set kind of meeting that we're supposed to have about animation, where I'm hoping he'll be able to clue me in on some of the secrets. But it's been a heck of a learning curve thus far.
I have one word for you when it comes to the animated short. River.
Yeah. The new puppy has kind of sidelined everything.
Except my job.
Yeah.
I go to work, she does river. 24/7.
We'll get back to it. This one will be about 5 to 7 minutes in total length. It's more of an intro than anything else, just kind of a teaser to put out there and see what kind of response we get from it. We're considering potentially looking at the possibility of kind of a seasonal episodic
We'll
thing.
see.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Let's get through the first one, but we've recorded some voice over work. Damien has helped with a little of that. I've done some. My daughter, Anna Grace, has done a little voiceover work. We've written the scripts and played this out, and yeah, it's just a matter of getting through work and Trans World and the puppy. And finding time when real life allows for yet another of our little ventures off into the fantasy world. That's all. But we do have fun in our fantasy world.
I got one more question here before we look at some of your pictures here. The question for the roses, I've got it from a number of different people, so I figure might as well ask it. Are you guys putting on a haunt this year? Or are you taking a year off? What's the story? What's up for DRM in the future?
No.
And yes, no, we will not be doing any version or semblance of a home haunt this year. Not on the home property. If some amazing investor miracle happens, then maybe something outside of that. But because we don't put a great deal of stock in that at this point, it's going to be at least 2016 before there's another Dark Rose Manor.
Yeah, barring anything. Really, there's a lot of reasons we're out of the home haunt business, and that's not because we're just saying we're going to go pro. No, we have our business, we have our vision. Should an opportunity arise that we are comfortable with that allows that vision, we will certainly pursue the potential, but no. At this point, we have every intention of taking 2015 off, concentrating on other things, including reassessing and regrouping Dark Rose Manor into its next phase. But we are pretty much out of the home haunt business right now, indefinitely. I didn't say permanently, I said indefinitely. So there's your answer.
Hey, you know what? There's one thing that's consistent, and that's no consistency when it comes to haunting. There is no definite no's. There's no definite yeses. If there is, I'd love to see it because it's always ever changing and evolving one way or the other. So
But
And
when we do it, we'll do it our way.
that's
And
exactly right. Well, talking about
that's
doing it, talking about doing it your way. Of course, I would say the last 2 years have been pretty inspirational. But for me personally, this last year, that the whole feel of what you guys created was just on point for me. And again, like what you were saying earlier, it's completely different. It's not something that's influenced by other haunts. It's not the typical way of doing things, and I applaud you for that. That's what I always look for. So I will be disappointed that we won't see. I won't have that to look forward to in 2015, but that's quite all right. So it's understandable. So we'll look for that later on for sure.
Thank you so much.
that means a lot.
A bunch of pics to show everybody. We can go ahead and do that.
2014 was supposed to be a swan song and a huge conglomeration of a lot of things that we had wanted to do and sought to do. So yeah, it was meant to be all that. So thank you very much.
Yeah, it was very cool. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that immensely. And talking about, somebody asked earlier about if the art and all that kind of background. Go check out the video, and that says it all. The video was killer for this past year. So, and I don't know. I'm trying to look right now. Yes, that's from this past year. Jose's got a couple pictures up, and he's been putting a few up as we've been talking. But this brings us into this year. If you could talk about some of the pictures that he's bringing up on what it is we're looking at, maybe the influence or what you were trying to project to people.
Sure. Well, the whole premise behind 2014, of course, was. It was, in a sense, a carnival theme based on a pretty in-depth fairy tale that we kind of written together. And these fairies were come upon by this old puppeteer, had their wings ripped off, became very twisted and mean, and more or less went through and massacred everyone that had ever worked in this carnival, but then had nowhere else to go. They didn't fit in with their old lives and with the other bands of fairies, and so they had nowhere else to go, so they went back to the carnival and they reanimated everyone that they had killed. The idea being here that the center, almost kind of a maypole tree in the middle there, was meant to give you the feeling of an old midway or an old carny tent that had just absolutely been decimated by age and time. There you have a couple of the puppets up on the stage, the twisted puppets. Fairy sans their wings that are just wicked and evil. So that's the gist of it. Hopefully some of y'all watch and read the backstory, because I feel like I'm really flubbing telling it right now.
That's okay. The clip notes are perfect.
Reverse ghost story.
Yeah, it's undead reverse ghost story, definitely.
With our own character.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there they are. There's a great group shot.
That's my favorite picture from the whole year.
I think I used it about 30 times in the video, too.
Mr. Twist, eh?
Yeah, Mr. Twist and Maximilian, who was the old puppeteer there. He's on the left next to Mr. Twist, who had been killed and reanimated, and basically the puppets became his puppeteers, if you will. And the puppets up there on the stage. Yeah.
I love the lighting in this picture.
Thank you. Thank you. We had a lot of help with the lighting this year.
The lighting on the stage we owe to our good friend Brian Smith.
And Brian Strong, yeah.
Brian Smith, as we've been allowed to say, was a member of Here Come the Mummies. And if you haven't heard of Here Come the Mummies, check them out. Yeah. So Brian was definitely a part of that band and has a background in performance art and stage lighting and audiovisual and all that. And he brought a lot of that to bear just so we could keep the focus on the puppet stage.
Yeah, he came in and
it pops.
He took the basics that had had been done and absolutely creates depth of lighting that, I mean, we hadn't even conceived of using some of these colors and layers that he did. He came in and he spent the entirety of the run with us, and came in and just, when we didn't understand what he was doing, and when it got dark and he turned those lights on, we went, oh, man. So we can't claim the credit for that. That was 100% Brian Smith, purple top hat wearing Uzi Mummy. Yeah. And he's kind of our surrogate brother. And
he's the same guy that wrote our original
the theme song.
Show.
Yeah.
He's the same guy that wrote The Manor of Dark Rose.
And that's the guy. He's the one that sang it as well. Yeah.
Nice. Well, I'm going to move on over to Rodney real quick.
Yes.
Yes, Rodney.
Yes, get off of
Hello. Extremely patient. And the funny thing is,
thank you for your patience.
It's all good. I'm learning.
I forgot Rodney was over there.
I know. I forgot. You know what though? The funny thing
I was actually thinking that. Go to somebody else.
between Greg and Paul and Jamie, I mean, everyone here has been the quietest guest and so polite. And I got to remind everybody, feel free to jump in if you've got a question too. Jump into to each other. I mean, my gosh. But on the theme of hating people.
So anyway, that's it.
And I don't want to, and I don't want to leave Rodney out.
So I'm hated too.
Rodney is the person that everybody hates because when they go to Walgreens or Costco's, they can't find a skeleton. Well, that's Rodney's fault. So if you live anywhere near Rodney, you can hate him for that because I think he is the one reason why nobody can find any local skeletons.
I do have one or two skellies, yes.
Well, hey, Rodney, if you could introduce yourself, just tell everybody maybe where you're from, maybe talk about your skeleton fetish a little bit, and that'll get us going.
Okay, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, Rodney Payne. I live in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, which is just outside of Tulsa, kind of tucked up here in the northeast corner of the state. I've been haunting, I would say I've been what I would call haunting for probably about 3 years, but I've always been a Halloween nerd. We don't have any pictures of me as a kid trick-or-treating, but trust me, I was in a skeleton costume every single year. So that's where the skeleton fetish started, was at a very young age. I have no idea why. Every year my parents took me to get a new costume, and every year I picked the same one, and they looked at me and shook their head, and we went to check it out. I don't know what to tell you. But I am definitely a classic Halloween guy. I would say at my core I'm still more of a Halloween nerd than I am really a haunter, because I've only been, like I said, been haunting about 3 years, what I would call real haunting.
Jose's got a great shot, and the one thing that has always stuck out, and you've got it over your shoulder as well, is your main tombstone that's got your haunt name on it, the Playground of the Dead.
Well, I can take no credit. The only credit I can take for that tombstone is my credit card, because the good folks at Tombstone Factory made that one for me.
Hey, that's quite all right.
I am a haunter who knows his limits, and I can't do that good, so I let them do it.
They did a fantastic job too. That thing looks awesome. But you could take the credit for your placement, because that thing is front and center and right behind those entry gates, and that thing, it just looks fantastic.
Thank you.
And I don't know if you can see, Jose's got a few of the pictures popping up here of the entrance. Here's a daylight photo.
Yeah, I've gradually grown that. I pretty much go, again, pretty much with the classic Halloween, graveyard scene. You know, the funny story about the name of my haunt was I could not think of a decent name of my haunt forever. I'm just not that creative. And as I was setting up, I think it might have been last year, the year before last, somebody came by and said, you know, those skeletons look like they're really having a lot of fun. It's almost like a playground. So I was like, thank you very much. Playground of the Dead it is.
Love it.
And that's kind of the gist of it, is they're just basically, you know, it's Halloween night and they're having a good time and they're partying. And you know, I kind of go with a scary but not too scary. Because my target audience is pretty much trick-or-treaters. So I'm hoping to encourage, you know, somebody to keep haunting it. Like I said, I'm a Halloween nerd, and it kind of felt like I'm probably, well, I'm pretty sure I'm older than everybody on this, well, at least everybody that's on the call tonight that I can see. But I can tell you that it kind of felt like over time that Halloween sort of lost a little something. You know, all the usual groups that are anti-Halloween and blah, blah, blah. And so it's just kind of my way to try to kind of keep things kick-started and energized.
Yeah, for sure. You do your community a service by doing that, right?
Well, I like to think so because, again, as a kid, you know, Halloween was my holiday. I mean, you know, sure, you're a kid, you like Christmas because you're getting free stuff, but it was really all about Halloween. So, and, you know, I
love the show.
Here's a funny story. For years and years, I worked at, there's my little chef guy there. For years and years, I worked for Toys R Us. And again, I'm in Tulsa, so some of you may know that that's kind of where Oral Roberts got his deal, where he's here and all that stuff, you know, Richard Roberts. They used to actually come into my store every Halloween and pretty much tell me that I was going to burn because we were selling Halloween costumes, and I'm just like, okay, wow, thank you very much.
Really?
Yeah, so, you know, just that type of attitude kind of just because I'm a contrarian kind of energized me to do something a little bigger and better and so on and so forth. And somebody mentioned earlier a legend comment. I've never been called a legend, but I have had a bunch of kids come by and a bunch of parents come by and say, you know, fantastic job. We appreciate you doing this. It really kind of keeps Halloween going. And that's kind of my whole deal, is just keep that whole thing going.
Yeah, that makes it all worth it. When, you know, when you spend all that time, you know, doing it, and you're like, oh man, this is horrible. I gotta, you know, it's just terrible. We're going through all this shit, man, and I'm stressed out. I'm yelling at the wife, and I'm yelling at the kids, and I'm smacking the grandkids, get out the way. And
100%. I can tell you that, you know, when it's June. And in Oklahoma, trust me, June or July, it's 100 degrees, and you're out in your garage making something. It's nice to have somebody come by and go, hey, that's pretty awesome, because at that moment in time, you're thinking, why in the hell am I doing that?
Yeah. They remind you.
Hey, every one of those kids that show up to your house year after year, that's where it's at, because you know for good and well when they get older, that's what they're going to be telling their kids, and that your house will be the one that's remembered. So
yeah, you know, you hope so, because like I said, I have really fond memories of Halloween as a kid. I grew up, I trick-or-treated in the 60s, so it seemed, you know, of course, when you remember things in your childhood, you probably don't remember them exactly the way they were, but my memories are that every house had a line, every house had at least a jack-o'-lantern on the front porch, all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And that's, you know, that's the kind of thing that I'm trying to get going in my neighborhood. And somebody mentioned earlier that they've motivated somebody across the street from them to start haunting. And I've started to see that popping up in my neighborhood too, so that's kind of
best. That's awesome when that happens.
Yeah.
We got a question from Robert Gaskell. Rodney, do you throw anything extreme into the mix with the traditional stuff, and what catches your eye that might make an appearance in the future?
Well, I don't know. Extreme. I do have some scares. Most of the stuff that I've built myself has been what I would call stationary prop. I'm pretty proud of. I don't know if they're even in these pictures, but I'm pretty proud of. Believe it or not, not everything came from Costco or Target, but I've got a couple Monster Mud projects in there that I am very proud of. Although I will freely admit that I hate Monster Mud with a deep, dark hatred. But they came out pretty well, so I'm pretty proud of those.
Good to know.
But yeah, I do have some stuff that will startle you, you know, that jumps out from here and there and stuff like that. I was telling Jamie when we did our first little deal, and Julie, was that the frustrating thing for me is that the kids go through the haunt so fast because they're scared of everything that they don't trip anything until they're already past it. And the parents want to stand around and take a bunch of pictures, so they're clogging up my whole flow here, you know. So I got to figure out how to make that work better. I don't have anything pneumatic yet. I haven't got into that, so it's all electric, and a lot of those electric eyes and things don't work all that fantastic. I've got a few things that I've gotten from Fright Props over the years. I had a coffin lid that popped up and down as they came around. That scared a bunch of people.
Well, if they run through, man, it's kind of hard for anything to work right, you know.
Yeah, it is difficult to get them to slow down.
Question from Angel Grant. Where can we find out more about the playground online? Any links? Would love to follow you.
Well, everything's on my personal homepage. Again, the only thing that is worse than my haunt building skills is my technical computer skills. And to be honest with you, it never occurred to me till recently that anybody would want to watch me building props, because trust me, it's mostly me cursing and throwing stuff down and starting over.
You not seen any of Jose's videos?
Dude, you would totally be like my most favorite haunter.
Well, the funny story I told somebody was, as I'm in the, because for some reason I have to have mine. I feel like I have to have mine set up by the first weekend in October, so I can at least light it up.
Oh,
and then they don't go. So that means I'm actually out there setting it up in September, which is again pretty warm. And one day, as I'm out there and I'm almost done, and I'm just whipped and like a dog, and I'm thinking again, I'm having two thoughts: A, why am I doing this? And B, I really need to build a crypt next year. So I don't know how you have those two thoughts at the same time, but that's what my plans for this year is to build a crypt. So we'll see if that comes to fruition. I've gradually added to the size of my graveyard every year, so it seems like I don't do anything except build fence and columns and such, but hopefully we'll get into something else. Actually, to be honest with you, the first build of the year, sadly, will be another shed to hold most of my crap, because right now it's everywhere. That's always the number one question is, who helps you do this? And I go, nobody. And where do you put all this stuff? And I say, where? So the wife has finally decided it's time to start storing some of this stuff somewhere besides every place in the house.
Well, you need to build your shed to look like a crypt, and then you've done two things in one.
100%.
Oh, that's totally what I was thinking, Jamie.
I think that's going to be my plan, 100%, because
put that thing on some big wheels and just wheel that thing right out front.
And yet, maybe not what your wife was thinking.
Yeah. I think she would like me to haul it all to someplace down the street and let them store it, but that's not going to happen either.
Well, you got to build a crypt without her knowing what you're doing. You said build a shed, baby. Here it is.
Question for Rodney from Chris Ainsworth. Do you leave your props out every night, and how do you stop theft? Is that a problem for you?
Knock on wood, I haven't had any problem with theft. I will admit, as the haunt has gotten bigger and more expensive, that it scares me. Most of my what I would call animatronics don't go out every night. They're out for this picture. These pictures were taken fairly early in October. Again, the stationary stuff, the static stuff, all stays out. But I don't know if maybe just having the fence, because my yard is totally enclosed. Not that you couldn't get through there if you wanted to, because it's all, PVC and wood. But so far, I haven't any problem. No problem.
Interesting question from Lori Umdenstock. Question, Rodney: do all your skeletons have names?
No, they don't.
Peter, Paul, Ace.
Yeah. Well, those four have. I'm glad you noticed that. Those four have names, but no. If it took you 2 years just to name your haunt, you're probably not going to name your skeletons.
Right.
Darling Gonzalez wants to know, Rodney, did you do a how-to on your fence?
No, I didn't. I've gotten 0 up as far as.
So, Darling, the answer was he hasn't done one yet.
No.
Yes.
No.
So Rodney, here's your
One
next
coming.
thing that comes after this show is to get a YouTube channel and start vlogging how-tos and how you put it together.
That's a pretty standard fence, I mean, all these
don't backpedal.
Don't matter.
Standard to you is impossible to somebody else.
Okay, well, I'm with you, because when I discovered the haunt community, whenever that was, and started finding all these YouTube videos and instructional videos and blah blah blah.
So you gotta get back. You gotta get back.
Because I could not have done any of this without those cheat sheets or whatever, because there's just no way. I mean, I'm just not that creative. Trust me. Everything you see was done at least twice. at least twice. You know, I know you're supposed to measure twice and cut once, but I blow that completely out of the water and just start cutting stuff. But no, the fence is fairly simple for anybody who wants to build a fence. You send me a personal message. I'll tell you how to do that. That's easy. That's an easy one. If you want to know about monster mud, ask somebody else, because I don't want to talk about monster.
Kyle Albrecht
Mad
wants
City.
to know.
He'll do the monster mud for you.
Kyle Albrecht wants to know for Rodney, loving the playground of the dead stone behind you on the wall. What did you use to get such a distinct font with the etching?
Well, again, I purchased that, and I just went through Tombstone Factory, so they get all the credit. I did, you know, they sent me a couple of mock-ups about what I would actually want, and I was definitely going for kind of a gothic look. I don't even know what you call that font, to be honest with you. But if anybody who is not, I kind of want to get into carving tombstones and the like. It's something I really haven't tried yet. But if you don't, it's like with most of my stuff, it comes down to time, and there's just not enough time to get it all done. So I freely admit I'm more than happy to buy it. My wife's not that crazy about me buying it, but I'm good with it.
Regarding buying props, Savage FX on YouTube wants to know, as fellow home hunters, what do you find limiting when purchasing props? Is it just the money, or is it more storage space or functionality? Like
kind of all of the above. I mean, you know, as much as I love props, you know, I would say that most of them are slightly overpriced. No offense to all you prop builders out there, but and again, I'm a little frustrated with the infrared feature on most of them, as far as, you know, being able to, because, you know, you got a pretty low light environment, and they don't always trip like you would want to if you're just going to go off of a, you know, infrared light beam thing. So, but again, because I like the classic stuff, I don't have a lot of, you know, zombies, and no offense to those of you that do, are the gore stuff. So, you know, I'm pretty much looking for, matter of fact, the one thing that I want to do for this year in my side yard, and you guys probably all seen the movie Trick or Treat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You know that scene where the girls got, the freaky girls got the house with all the jack-o'-lanterns just filled full?
Oh, yeah.
I want to do that in my side yard. The question is how I'm going to find and or build that many jack-o'-lanterns, but that's on the list. We'll see if that gets done or not. But
Monster mud.
no, it will not be made out of monster mud.
Distressed pumpkins. I don't even like real pumpkins anymore unless somebody's making bread or pie.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah, like I said,
Well, you know, one good.
Go ahead.
Hey, Rodney, one real easy way is just keep hitting the local Goodwills and you know, Salvation Army and whatnot. You can pick up all those real cheap light up plastic pumpkins, and they make great bases. And from there, you can just corpse those things out and get a little bit more unique look. And I mean, you can modify those things quite easily.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
You're
that's a great way to
right.
get a bunch.
I wish I had thought of the idea before, a little earlier, because historically the Walmarts of the world have those things marked down to nothing, and they have a trillion on every, you know. But that's kind of that's the only real way I can afford most of this stuff. Is I am definitely a big guy on.
we just lose Rodney?
Okay, what does this mean then?
It's frozen.
He's making us think about it.
Yep, he might have froze up. It looks like he's
Are we back?
frozen.
Am I back with you?
Oh,
You're back.
we are.
Yeah. There you go.
I don't know what I was saying, but I'm sure it was awesome. I'm sorry.
You know, we started lip syncing when you were frozen. And we started saying all kinds of stuff.
We got
It's all
enough
good.
technical problems tonight, Rodney. You can't have a seizure.
You know what, Rodney? That just gives us something to look forward to. We're all going to be looking for your post of what's to come this year with all the different pumpkins up the side yard.
Okay, I'll work on that. That might be something I can actually post a video of. I might be able
No,
to do
no.
that.
See, the
without
first thing
messing
you
it
do is get a YouTube channel. Then you start. posting.
up. I'm writing it down right now. YouTube channel.
Not everybody likes not everybody likes YouTube. I still love it. So
Yeah.
I still follow everybody.
Yeah, I think it might have been. Of course, there's a lot of stuff that you see once you discover this stuff. I think it might have been Steve's Haunted Yard that I first ran across, and his yard was just filled with stuff, and that you can kind of see mine's kind of that way too. It's a little busy, so perhaps too busy.
No such thing.
No such thing, man.
Kyle,
Hey, that's a good question. I'd like to know how everybody discovered YouTube. Who was the first vlogger y'all found?
Bloodshed Brothers.
Oh, you know what? I'd have to say Bloodshed Brothers too.
I think so.
Yep, that sounds right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went
There you go,
from
Jeremy, back.
I went through the Bloodshed Brothers scene. Then it was Halloween Hellmouth.
Yeah.
And then I got into Steve's Haunted Yard and Goth Gloom and just the whole clan of them,
It kind of blows your mind when you first find all these people. There's so many people out there that are doing it.
Yeah, for Pandora, it was definitely Bloodshed Brothers first. When we left I wouldn't say leave, but when we moved more from forums into the Facebook and YouTube communities, she found, because she does all the tech stuff, she found the Bloodshed Brothers, and then she started watching vlogs, and it was Rainia.
It was
Rainia that actually made her go, I want to do vlogs and junk, and that's how we started.
And now you're going
Brothers too.
For me, it was those kids in California, those two dudes who do the driveway of their parents' house. What are their names?
Oh,
They got a couple.
twins, aren't they?
They got a couple videos out there.
Identical twins.
No, I'm not even. No, I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about those guys.
Perdition homes. Perdition.
Yeah, Perdition.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
One of the first people I ever encountered on.
Yeah. I think Steve's Haunted Yard might have been I don't know if it was really the first one, but that was probably the most influential one to begin with, just as far as all the different builds that were coming on. I remember watching him thinking, God damn, this guy's crazy with all these, with these young kids, and
he was just big time there.
Oh my God, he was pumping props out left and right. It was like, and then of course, it seems like it doesn't matter who you started with, but it was like your eyes just got wide open, and the world just opened up, because once you found one, then there was, it was like, oh my God, here's 10 more, and then once you got those 10 more, there's 20
Total
more.
snowball effect.
It just went on and on. Yeah, it was.
That's all I can do to keep up anymore.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this.
My bathroom breaks went from 10 minutes to an hour and 10 minutes because all I did was watch YouTube.
You don't need to stay over here now. Some things you just need to keep quiet.
Like, did you fall in there? No, shush. Steve's building another cauldron creep.
And here's the question, guys. We all found forums and Facebooks and pages and YouTube sites and vlogs and blogs, and doesn't that not only inspire you to actually do these things for yourself, but doesn't it make you sometimes feel like you're obsessed with the attention they all get? Everybody starts watching likes after a while and subscriptions. We actually convinced ourselves that we were no longer going to ask for likes and subscriptions, but you'll look for it because you're like, is anyone paying attention to me? And when that ego drives into your YouTube channel or your Facebook page or your haunt, and
does it affect what you do?
Does that hurt,
Oh,
Or
just to
hello?
see if you get some, if you twist it this way, thinking, oh man, that'll get it or whatever.
Yeah, does it affect you
No,
personally?
I don't think it affects me personally, because it's like I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. Before I had YouTube, before I did anything like that, I had a blast doing the haunt without YouTube. So, I mean, if I get some likes and I get some shares, that's fine. But I was having a blast before any of that stuff was even involved. I was just as happy. I was just as like, oh my God, this is so cool. You know what I'm saying? I was so involved in. I mean, I was haunting way before I even started vlogging. I was still just as driven and geeked as before that. So I don't think that, to me, that was going to make a difference to me at all. I mean, if you want to watch my stuff,
Tell me about your haunt in 2014 then.
Oh, I'll let you know.
You invited me on.
Hey, I'll let you
I'm
know
sorry.
about your 2015 haunt.
Things just got ugly.
I think I'll take my 100 likes and my 3 subscribers and take a year off. Tell me, 20,000 strong. Tell me about that
Hey,
boy.
you know, the funny thing,
I love
August,
you, brother.
to help answer some
I'll
of
see
that
you in
question.
Trans World.
Yes, I know you will.
August, to help
Love you,
answer some of
brother.
that question, you know, the only thing that, and I can speak really easily about this and personally about it, is when I found all of that, I was so influenced by everybody working and sharing, because that was my first exposure to that. Otherwise, it was just what I did here at the house, and didn't realize that the world outside of that had just as many people doing the same thing and sharing the same likeness. So, you know, that is what inspired me to try to do a video, and then I realized very quickly that the video is the biggest pain in the butt that you could possibly try to put together,
Right.
and which, you know, I
That's
took
my
a lot
favorite
of
part of
grief
it.
for having 8 videos to try to do one thing, but hell, I'm like, you know what? If I'm doing this, I'm gonna do every fucking step. Not, you know, I'm not gonna leave anything out. This is what I'm doing, and I freaking killed myself over it. But that's the only thing that influenced me.
video tutorial, the only person that did
No, it wasn't a matter. It's never a matter of likes or anything else. To that, at that point,
I don't think that should define you. I really
No.
don't.
Agreed.
Do what you love. Do what you
I
love.
think
That's
we all
right.
do.
You know, and at that point in time, it was all a matter of, you know, all these people have given me so much because they've put themselves out there and shared what they've done and how they do it. It's like, I've got to do something to give back to the community, because I'm like, it's just like, there's got to be something. I'm like, what do I do? What am I doing? What can I'm like, okay, well, I know how to make these things, so I'll give this back to them, and then hopefully, because I did that, then somebody else will say, well, think the same thing, and they'll give something back, and then just continue that
I mean,
sharing.
I watched all your vlogs, man, and by the time I was done, I felt like you were family. I was like, dude, I know this dude.
Yeah.
Yes, none of us would know one another.
I don't do the videos to get like likes or anything like that from the Haunter crowd. I'd make the video like to get validation from the normal people I know in my life who think I'm fucking crazy for doing it. and they're like, don't even bother coming. I like do the video to be like, see what you missed, you douche. You didn't come to my haunt. Like, look how awesome it was, you know?
I hear you, Brad, but the normal people in our life pay
Normies.
no
I like to
attention
call
to
them
that stuff. None.
Non-ters.
Nonters, forget it.
Hunters.
I still like the people that don't understand the term haunters. Period. They just don't understand it. They're like, what? You hunt? No.
Oh God.
How pissed are you that your iPhone spell check won't accept Haunter? It's always Hunter. It's always like trying to correct you. I'm like, no, there's a thing called Haunters. Damn you.
The funny thing is, and I haven't seen this in a long time. I don't know if Jose has or Brad, but when we first created the Facebook page, it was really interesting to see how many people were requesting to join. That when you really look, if you clicked on them, they thought we were hunting, and they, all it was camo and deers and everything. We're like, did you not see the A in this thing? You obviously didn't look at this group.
Right.
Did you add them just to freak them out?
We did it first. At first, we did.
Well, we were looking for more carcasses to give the roses, but
that's right. That's right.
Well, hey, we're going to run through, because I know we still got a bunch of pictures left. And here's Greg's. We talked about some of the stones earlier, and Greg's done some fantastic stone work. And here's a great example of it.
Like when I go to a cemetery, I always stop at cemeteries every now and then, and I'll take a picture. I always go north, south, east, and west. And I take a picture of every direction, just so I can use it for like future reference. I'm nutty.
We all are.
The problem is that you're so normal here.
I'm a little obsessive compulsive.
How do you get your text so perfect, Greg, on your stones?
The previous one I actually purchased, like Rodney, so I can't take credit for that, but I did like paint it and do all that stuff. This one I actually did myself. I just pick a font, print it out. I use X-Acto knife to carve everything out.
Okay.
Wow.
This one is actually a tribute to my great-great-grandfather, Michael Wallace. So, yeah, just take a X-Acto knife, carve it.
Nice. Yeah, I was looking at a lot of the stones you had up on your Facebook page.
Yeah, I want to know if you do you carve all the pumpkins? Them are awesome.
I use those are like Funkins, or the Michaels versions of the Funkins or whatever. I use a Dremel on those.
That's awesome.
Oh, you do with the Dremel, okay.
Yep.
Now, why, Greg,
hey, you hear that, Rodney?
Yep, I gotta get a Dremel.
You got some pumpkins to do.
Real tiny drill bit on the Dremel and go in there, and these were actually like how Disney has their pins. Everybody collects the Disney pins. Does everybody know about that?
Oh yeah.
so that's what those were. Those were pins I blew up in Photoshop of all the hitchhiking ghosts and printed them out on a piece of paper and glued them to the pumpkins, and then took a Dremel and cut them all out.
That's awesome.
That looks great.
I like that.
Yeah, this is Cornelius.
Cornelius from the Soul Train. Heading out.
There's a local ghost story that kind of goes with the whole backstory that's all in my head, about my haunt. That there's this Cornelius Conway who supposedly walks the train tracks and swings a lantern and to warn trains. Well, there's not trains on anymore because now it's like a bike path. But yeah, people still say they see him swinging a lantern to warn trains of upcoming danger.
Greg Logan Roush wants to know what inspired the Civil War theme.
That right there. Yeah, there's I live pretty close to Miamiville, Ohio, and that's where that ghost story is from. And Morgan's Raiders, it was a Confederate, came through here. Actually came like within probably less than a half mile of my house, and probably took horses and all kinds of stuff from the farmer that was here before they built this subdivision. And so that's where it all started.
It's a great theme. The Civil War. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's all up here in my head.
You gotta go look at the pictures of it in the daytime. I mean, I love the Cauldron Creek with the Confederate, flag and everything. I think just a white light would have just like, you gotta see it, in full color.
Yeah, I like to think of it as like like John Carpenter's The Fog, only instead of like the seamen, they're like Confederate soldiers. That's like the what I think about.
Well, and I like you were able to tie it into some local legend too.
Yeah.
So that always helps.
Yeah.
I love that shot you're showing right now.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Yeah, I suck at taking pictures, but I have a friend who's a professional photographer.
Okay, wait. So now
I love that.
now there's four things I hate now. I hate you and your photographer now.
She actually takes I guess she's probably best known for like taking pet pictures. Like she's in all these like pet calendars, all the different dog breeds and stuff. They have calendars out. She's like in a lot of those, but so I asked her to come and take them. Hey, you want to come down to my house Halloween and take some pictures? And she said, yeah, sure. So there you go. And she knew she had a fish eye lens. She had a new fish eye lens she was trying out, so that's why they're all like fish eye lens. But this is my Disney Haunted Mansion tribute stone here, Master Gracie.
So do all your skeletons have names?
Yeah. I name everything.
Yes, we're not the only ones.
And these two are from The Omen. Like Maria Scianna and Bambino Scianno. That was the like Damien, was actually in that grave, and that was his jackal mother. So.
Oh, those are cool.
These are my unknown soldier stones. I just Googled like Civil War stones. You know what I mean? Google images.
Yeah.
And then made them to fit what I wanted to do here.
Were those actually based on some then that you found of real stones?
Yeah.
Really? So they have them like that with the unknown.
Absolutely. And the Confederates are all pointed. Confederate stones are all pointed, and the Union are all rounded. So.
Really?
Yes.
I'll be damned. See, there is something you can learn on Hunter's Hangout. It's an educational program.
That's like the first thing we've learned in history on this whole show.
This is JR. JR, that's the guy's. What side is he on? This side? No, this side. There it is.
I try to tell people not to flip.
I know.
You gotta do it.
It's all that's backwards. But yeah, that's him. And I have him like when the trick-or-treaters come around the corner, like there's a corner that goes up to my porch where I give them candy. And yeah, there he is. So when they come around the corner, when they're coming to get the candy, they don't even see him because he's kind of like hidden behind a tree and stuff. And then when they leave, I have a push-button trigger that I can trigger him where he'll like lunge out and reach for him and growl.
Oh, nice.
All that kind of stuff. And so I get him as they're leaving after they get their candy.
That's cool.
That's fun.
Yeah, I love it. That's fun.
Come and get your full-size candy bar and then get scared.
Oh, you talking about the full size, man?
Yeah, I do.
I'm coming to your house.
No kidding. Greg, you're not quite that far away from me, so I mean.
I know.
Like, give me my Kit Kat.
This is probably the first thing I ever built. It's like just a popper that goes up and down behind this stone. It's on a wiper motor.
Oh, so that's one of the rotating, like kind of the.
He goes straight up and down.
Popper.
Right.
All right, that's the last of the picks.
Greg, all kidding aside, you aren't really that far from me, so you never know. I may end up knocking on your door. I'll come down that cul-de-sac and go, is the house? Hey, with you being that close,
you're right across the river from Louisville, right? Is that where you are?
Yeah, that's right. So not too awfully far. With you being that close to MHC, are you going to be there this year?
Yeah, I'll be there.
All
I've gone the
right,
last
awesome.
2 years.
Hey, well then, you know what? We can't wait to be able to meet you then in person. That's the best thing about this whole thing. You know, August mentioned earlier talking about what about this and what about. Hey, you know, the best thing is just being able to bring people together and actually meet them.
Hallelujah.
Absolutely.
Amen.
Yeah, you know, I've gone the last 2 years. 2 years ago, I just went up for Saturday. Me and my wife just drove up for the day and walked around the trade show and, you know, watched the makeup wars and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then last year, my wife couldn't make it. She had a business trip, so my son and I went. And of course, I came home and said, "Oh, baby, you're the greatest." Because I went up there and spent the whole weekend, you know, with me and my son. That was really cool. Took him classes and stuff, and actually, I saw you guys. I've seen you guys there both years. And I was like, yeah, there they are. I know who they are, but they don't know who I am, so I'm just going to...
Oh, come on.
So this year...
You know what, honestly, it's best you didn't try and approach those two guys. They're
No, it's a fact. No. The fact is we were standing with
I
Brad.
totally would have had a beer with you, but not those guys.
Yeah. No, we were staying with Brad, and his influence on everybody keeps everybody at bay. They all thought he was our bouncer.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, you got to think about us like, you know, we know everybody, and like Greg. I mean, I followed you since a long time, but I've never actually seen you until now. So it's like, I mean, you automatically think that we're gonna know who people are, but we don't. Right. It's like you gotta come up and say, look, my YouTube channel is this, or my Facebook channel is this.
Well, that's the other problem is that usually people have one name on Facebook and one name on YouTube, right. And you know, it's sometimes for someone who doesn't even remember normal names, you know, that well. Like when you have mixing 9 social media.
Well, see, mine is the same. My Facebook and my YouTube's all the same, so it's easy.
Well, that's my question. Is like, here we are, man. We're like less than a week away from just jamming into St. Louis together for Transworld, right? We're gonna do this again. We're gonna meet up. We're gonna meet everybody for the first time. We're a couple hours into this show. Who's going? Who's ready? Let's talk about Transworld.
Hell yeah! What are you talking about?
Come on, somebody throw some Transworld out there.
Well, Be Good
go. I got family lives there.
I'm not going. I'm not going.
Be Good failed.
I know. Be Good is a big fail.
He's gonna stay here and rock ladies night with me.
See, he's staying with the ladies to run ladies' night. So
yeah,
that's right.
We need at least one good man to represent. So he decided he was doing that.
You know what? Ladies' night has never had to have one good man before.
Brad's just thinking if it wasn't for the Canadian internet, your guys' show wouldn't be on tonight.
Oh.
Hey, Paul, don't make us kick you off this tonight.
we haven't even got to all your pictures yet.
You guys can't kick him off.
That's un-American.
You go ahead, Paul.
See?
Damn it, Brad.
Yeah, but I got like 6 of his pictures. I got 6 of his pictures on ransom, so. So, I mean, here we go.
So as you get into this, Paul, I got a question from Christopher Presley. Where do you get your inspiration for your prop builds?
Well, kind of like August and Pandora were saying earlier, you know, just from everything, like the movies I watch.
I'm thinking Silent Hill. Yeah.
Yep. So that one was actually a commission piece that Wisconsin Scaryland had me do before I was actually working for them. They just kind of brought me in over the summer to build some stuff for them. And
you're just kind of like an all-around kind of guy, ain't you? Oh. Everybody wants a piece of the mad.
So was this your resume, or was this a way for them to check you out for real? Like, hey, let's just see if you can actually build something, and we'll hire him to build some props.
Yeah, I don't know how we originally hooked up. I think we kind of networked through Facebook, and like I was just kind of working for fun for them over the summer, and you know, as we kind of spent more time together, it progressed into like actual talk about you know, doing stuff for them full time. And so during the day, that's all the Halloween effects stuff. But for those type of props, that's some of the stuff that we did for the seasonal part of the business, which is the haunt.
Kemp Spider wants to know, Mad City Haunt, you always have cutting edge stuff. What's your next big thing you're working on?
Ooh. Oh man, right now I've got so much going on that like just kind of doing my personal stuff has taken a back seat to a lot of what I've been doing like full time for my job. But right now, a couple of the main things that are going on, we've got Transworld coming up. We've been doing a lot of builds for that. I'm actually going to be doing some updates in April on my YouTube channel because I've kind of dropped off on that, and there was a bit of surprise information there was that I actually commissioned Sam Haynes to make custom music for that for me, and he provided me with about 6 tracks for my show. And if you haven't heard his music, look him up on Facebook. He is, if you like Midnight Syndicate or Nox Arcana, you would love his music. So that's one thing that I got going on. My personal stuff, I'm hoping to kind of roll into more of my own business, and that's kind of going on too. So I mean, I'm just constantly busy pretty much from the time I get up to the time I pass out at night.
It's probably a good way to put it.
Oh,
especially right now with Transworld coming up.
Yeah, I mean, like I was telling you, Jim, I got home from work today and I was so sore. I just, you know, I took some Tylenol and rubbed icy hot all over my neck and back and tried to get ready for the show.
Hey, you know what though? You can tell us the truth. You watched the show last season when we had Guy on, and seeing him shirtless, you said, you know what? I have got to go work for that man. Hands down. You can tell the truth.
You know, I've heard on Haunters Hangout that there's some drinking that goes on, and some episodes are a little dicier than others.
I don't know nothing about that.
So, yeah, you know, it's funny when I told people that I was starting at Halloween FX, everyone would always ask me, they were like, you saw a guy on Haunters Hangout, right? And
no.
But no, his personality very much lends itself to doing well at a haunt, because when he gets into character, he just rolls with it. I mean, he really gets into character.
Yeah.
No, that's great.
Hey, I like to drink, and that's it, man. That's the show. You know what I'm saying? If you want to go somewhere to watch an interview, then that's fine. But you're not gonna see that here. You know what I'm saying?
Cheers.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, I could start off the show with like, I apologize for everything I did and this and that. But I'm not gonna.
I'll bring it up.
Hey, because you're gonna see the shit. Right, you're gonna see the shit again.
There it is.
I'll just wait till the end of the season. Like, if I said something that offended you, don't watch the show. I don't know. I mean,
you offend me way more when you're sober, Diablo.
Right. I believe that.
Hey, Paul, I can't. You know, and the funny thing is, before the Facebook police came out and exposed all of us, I mean, I had a hard time even remembering your name because it was always Mad City, Mad City, Mad City, and now I can't. Now I almost can't say Mad City, and I keep calling you Paul all the time. So
yeah,
I guess it's a good thing. If anything, it's got everybody together. You know, we talked about the different names for different YouTubes and Facebooks. So you know,
right.
I guess it's exposing everybody and bringing them together more. So
You know,
So be it.
I think the Facebook things, it's kind of a bummer. I mean, a lot of people like really kind of connect to their screen name or their haunt name, and I think it's cool. I mean, I would say that when I run into people at Transworld, I'm much more likely to remember their haunt name than I am to even know their real name. And like I know when I talk to you guys on Facebook, I'm usually calling you J-Wall and Diablo, and just because that's what I'm accustomed to.
Dude, half of my friends don't even call me by my name anymore.
Hey, I like to think that August and Pandora are Dark Rose Manor at the same time, and everybody knows it.
Well, you know, it's funny when we got Paul's package prior to Haunt with the beautiful Stop CMV sculpture, we didn't recognize it either. I set it aside. The box came. I wasn't expecting anything, and it said Paul on it, and I went, I don't know what this is. I set it aside. It wasn't until the next day.
What's this white powder coming out of it?
I opened it up, and I went, oh my God! And I went, wait.
Actually,
that's Mad
I
City.
think I actually.
You were like, ooh, mail from a nonter.
That's
Okay.
Right. Yeah, I got mail from my nonter.
I'm pretty sure I told her. I'm like, that sounds like Mad City Haunt, dude.
I mean, this right here is like one of my favorite. I think it's close to my favorite haunt.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
That was our homage to
that's a
Rock.
great.
I mean, that was before I even knew you guys.
First
I mean,
really great year.
right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd seen it, but I didn't really know who you guys were. And I'm like, wow. I mean, the detail that was put into this is like, wow.
The fact that that's our front yard, our front porch, our house is behind all that. Yeah, that's
that's detail because I don't see no fucking house.
Thank you.
No, I was like,
well, that's what we went into. That's how we started. We just said, you know,
I mean, I was totally blown away by this hunt right here. I mean, of course, all of them were totally. I loved all of them, but this one right here had to have been my favorite.
well, that's where we came up with the essay and the phrase art haunt, and that's how we came up with that thing that we like to think is the DRM style. Yeah, it's just
well, we love your
full-blown
style.
immersion,
We love
man.
your style, man.
You know what's
Thank
funny
you.
about that picture as opposed to the last picture? They could have been shot from the exact same spot.
Yeah, it's the same
Oh.
angle.
It's the exact same spot.
Just different.
Oh, that's the
Just
you can see the
completely
path.
different
up in the-
effects.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
there.
Yeah.
It's in the photo.
Yep.
Maybe a foot difference in the camera angle, but
Yeah. Same.
you're
same
staring
spot.
at the exact same porch.
Mhm.
Well,
Nice.
now I can see why you're not doing a haunt next year because like yeah, you heard that right, August. I can see why you're not doing a haunt because it's like such an extreme. You guys, you know, totally go extreme and like change everything up. So
Well, you remember
Thank you.
Bart and Michael sold that haunt over to Justin and Nikki, right?
I love them.
And it wasn't modular. We don't build modular or haven't built modular haunts, so it was just like every year was a new theme. So every year was built as well. Hell, look at that. You know,
That's that same front porch, but it's the inside of that front
that's
porch.
the exact same porch. It's like everything was built as if it were going to be permanent because we knew we would tear it down and never reuse it. So part of what we like to think of as our success is that, yep, we just built it like that's what it was going to be. It wasn't built in little sections and paint by numbers kind of things. It was just like, no, just do this thing. And then when we tear it down, we tear it down.
Which
then
sucks
we
when
reclaim,
it's mid-March and your backyard is still a hellhole of haunt.
which it is.
right, I always wanted to like trash every haunt that I did too, but then my wife that's not a haunter, she's like, You ain't gonna get rid of that. You just built all that. So now I got like shit from every hunt all over the friggin' place. Like, no, don't know what to do with it, and I need like 3 or 4 more sheds. So it's like,
Yeah. You remember how Gina and Chris, Hollywood Hunter, tore out their front side for Graveyard Gulch, and in essence, I guess we kind of wound up sort of doing the same thing last year with pulling the backyard into it. There was so much traffic through it that there's no grass left. It's all mud. So
oh, no. I
feel
have
your
no
pain,
grass.
Gina and
I have
Chris.
no grass. There's no grass.
No grass.
Now, is the state still up?
My walkthrough killed everything, dude. It killed it all. Dude, I was like, it'll grow back, baby. Don't worry. No, it did not grow back. It died. It's dead. I never saw grass never come back. This shit never came back.
And what grass the haunt didn't kill, River is doing a good job of chewing up every time she goes outside.
Oh God, damn dogs.
You know, the only reason Jose got away with that is Margaret kept looking, going, "That's okay. I'm gonna put a pool in. Look, there's no grass."
Yeah, she did too. She did too. All right, let's get on to the prizes, and we'll call it the day.
All right, so Jim, if you want to announce each prize, I'll announce each winner.
Okay, no problem. First prize that we have for tonight is the 1 gallon of Froggy's Fog, and the winner is?
From Twitter, the winner is Jeremy Ball.
Oh, it's Jeremy. Hey.
Is that one of them damn...
Speaking of the twins.
All his.
All right, and our second prize. Our second prize is the 1-year subscription to Haunt Topless magazine, and the winner is?
The winner is
Diablo 85.
Diablo 85. Congratulations, everybody.
Who's that douche?
The winner is Melissa Broberg. Congratulations.
All right.
These are all Twitter
And our
users.
third and final prize for tonight is the free download from Gore Galore's Halloween Music Galore.
And the winner for that is House of Dewberry, which is at Sherry Collette. Congratulations.
All right.
Go ahead, Sherry.
So everybody, to those 3 winners, make sure you keep checking your Twitter over the next few days. Julie will be replying to you to get your information. Blabbity blabbity blue. If you want to listen, if you want to win, listen to me, not Diablo. That's what you got to do.
Yeah,
So
Julie,
congratulations to you guys.
I get so much hating on this show, man.
About 12 people you
Why do you think Brad took
These are
over?
like complex.
Hey, I want to congratulate everybody for a successful season. We've enjoyed watching everybody last year. We look forward to seeing everybody this year. Hey, even though Pandora and them said that they're holding out for this year, we know that there's still going to be stuff to see. So we know that
They're going to be hating it. They're going to be hating it like I did. I was like, oh, it sucks so bad.
Yeah, we already know that.
But no, we look forward to seeing everybody. We can't thank you enough for coming on tonight.
Right?
Thank you for having us.
I got one thing I want to share here. A comment from Michael Edwards, who said, just a statement, there's always so much talk of pro haunters, but so much of that world is just business. You guys truly embody the spirit of Halloween. So thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight.
Good.
Mike.
Oh, dang. Thank you, Mike.
Hey, that's like the most intelligent thing I heard Mike say.
No kidding. Michael Edwards, I'm like, oh, great. What kind of comment is this going to be?
All right, well, Diablo, you want to say goodnight? Or you can't stop.
Hey,
You can't stop the broadcast. I have to do it.
But we definitely want to thank everybody for coming out, and we hope everybody enjoyed the show, and we hope to see everybody at Trans World, and we are going to have a booth, and anybody that's coming, please stop by, rest your feet, sit down, talk, and meet everybody you talk to all the time on the Hangout. So You know,
No excuses.
No excuses. Here's your chance.
No excuses
to meet
like Greg.
everyone. Right,
Yeah.
in person. Here's your chance to meet everybody in person. And
if you're not
come
going
and hang
to
out.
Trans World, then come hang with the ladies, because we'll still have a show next week.
And the ladies are going to have ladies' night, and they're taking over the whole show next week. There's no telling what's going to happen. We don't know because we'll
Brad
be
is going to shave
Brad's
and wear lipstick.
With a wig. Brad's
So he
going to
can
have
fit
a
in with
wig
the
on
ladies.
with lipstick.
Lady B.
In case you don't know who that blonde is, that's going to be Brad.
I'm going to be on the show just to make sure
The bearded lady.
I'm going to be on the show just to make sure the ladies don't get too rude. All right, everyone. Well, all right. Well, thank you very much. And I wanted to do the sign off for a while, but Diablo always hangs up before we do. I have control of it tonight, so hang out with your fangs out. Yeah.